That's insane, incredible, knowing how many artists performed there, how many athletes played there, like big names, and just be in line with those people, it's incredible.
The fierce lioness who slipped out of Spain without any roar and left Sabalenka totally speechless even before the chase had officially started. The Madrid Open 2026 has not yet played its very first serve, but the drama around it is already choking the atmosphere.
To see the welcome that I've had. There's a huge Filipino community here, so I'm so excited. They've
World number 45 Alex Eala has just walked out of Stuttgart on April 14th. Straight sets defeat of 6-1 6-4 against Lea Fernandez. Music, a clean, undisputed loss with no room for argument. Her clay season is fading away before it could truly begin. She was eliminated in the round of 16 at Linde against OAKO by 6-4 7-5. She threw away a commanding 5-1 lead in the second set and handed the match right back. Music, that one still hurts the most. 2 tournaments, 2 early exits, and the 360 ranking points she desperately needed are still missing. Now her Spain departure is going viral everywhere, and she has not even stepped onto the Madrid clay yet. She is humble and works extremely hard. That is why we admire her so much, because she is the face of the Philippines. No seeding, no first round bye. She starts from the round of 128 against 9 of the world's top 10 players, including Aryna Sabalenka, the exact same Sabalenka who stood frozen at the Miami Open this year when Eala completely dismantled her. The same Sabalenka who still holds the Madrid title 3 times. And the Filipina publicly said she would steal Sabalenka's serve if she possibly could. That quote spread all over. Sabalenka had no reply whatsoever, truly speechless. If you want to see whether I finishes what she started in Miami, hit subscribe music right now. Don't miss what's coming, because before we discuss what happens in Madrid, you need to fully understand music, exactly how Eala reached this point and why the Spain exit is not the story everyone believes it to be. 2 back-to-back losses on clay tell one story, but the numbers hidden beneath those losses reveal something far more uncomfortable. Before Stuttgart, before Linz, before this clay season had even begun to exist, Eala was sitting on 1555 ranking points after the Miami Open 2026. She had just reached the quarterfinals there. A deep run, a real result, points safely in the bank. Then the clay swing arrived and the bank started draining rapidly. The Miami Open quarterfinal in 2026 was not the disaster. The disaster was what it meant mathematically. In 2025, she had reached the semifinals of Miami. That run earned her 390 points. This year's quarterfinal exit only returned a fraction of those points, and not for the first time. She was almost beaten by the lack of pace on her serve. So the victory, the difference of 270 ranking points, vanished from her total the moment the Miami draw closed. She did not lose those points on the court in any match. She lost them on a spreadsheet. That feels almost more brutal than losing them during actual play. So she arrived in Linz needing real wins. Not just competitive performances, but actual victories and deep runs that would put fresh numbers back on the board before Madrid came calling. Linz started fine. She beat Julia Grabber 6-4 6-3 in the round of 32. Clean, controlled, nothing flashy but fully functional. Eala looked settled. She looked like someone who had found her footing on the red dirt early. Then Ostapenko walked onto the court music in the round of 16 and everything unraveled in the strangest way possible. The first music set went to Ostapenko 6-4, but even that set had many layers. Eala led 4-2. She was the one dictating play early. Ostapenko, a former French Open champion and one of the most dangerous ball strikers alive on clay, had to fight hard to music turn that set around. She won 4 straight games and took it. In the second set, Eala came out completely transformed. She broke immediately, broke again, then broke once more, leading 4-0. The match was hers for the taking. A third set against Ostapenko on clay with all the momentum swinging Eala's way would have been an entirely different contest. The crowd knew it. The commentators knew it. Eala was just a single game away from forcing music. That scenario, she never got there. Ostapenko, who had complained to the umpire mid-match about fan interference and was visibly agitated, somehow flipped a switch. She won 6 consecutive games from 1 music to 5 down. The match ended 7-5 in the second set. No third set was played. Eala left Austria having earned 60 ranking points and 15,690. Not nothing, but nowhere near enough. 1 week later, Stuttgart.
Does really well, and I think there's a lot of things that make her opponents feel.
The Porsche Tennis Grand Prix is an indoor clay event. It has a different surface feel and faster conditions. Music. Eala's opponent happened to be Leylah Fernandez, a left-hander just like Eala who carries Filipino heritage through her mother's side. It was their first ever singles match against each other. The storyline wrote itself music before a single ball was struck. Fernandez was ranked number 25. Eala was number 45. On paper, the gap looked manageable. On court, it was not close at all. Fernandez won 20 of the first 26 points in the opening set. She targeted Eala's backhand relentlessly, stepped inside the baseline on return games, and broke serve twice before I had found any rhythm whatsoever. The set closed 6-1 in under half an hour. The second set music had more fight in it. Eala held serve more comfortably. The baseline exchanges grew longer. She pushed back, trimmed the deficit to 4-5, and even had a 30-0 lead on Fernandez's serve in the 10th game, 1 point away from forcing a tiebreak. Fernandez won 4 straight points, match over 6-4. Music total match time was 1 hour and 28 minutes. Total points won by Eala across both sets, 46 out of 109. She won only 42% of the points played against the 25th player in the world on clay. That is not a competitive loss where fortune simply went the wrong way. That is a surface problem that still has not been solved. Eala has not won more than a single match in any clay court tournament since she reached the 3rd round of qualifying at the 2024 French Open. That is nearly 2 full years. The hardcourt results: the Miami run, the Indian Wells deep draw, the Auckland semifinal, music, the Dubai quarterfinal, all of that exists on a completely different planet from her clay court reality. Cheering, which makes what she said about Sabalenka even more striking in hindsight. When she told Tennis Express ahead of the Miami Open that she would steal Sabalenka's serve above any other shot from any other player, it was not just a compliment, it was a confession. She identified the exact weapon she does not have: a serve that produces free points, a serve that relieves pressure on ground strokes, a serve that means you do not have to win long rallies just to stay in sets. Sabalenka ranks 2nd music in the WTA in percentage of serve points won. 3rd in break points saved, 6th in aces. Those numbers exist because her delivery is not just powerful music, it is strategically suffocating. It removes the pressure point from her game entirely. Opponents cannot return aggressively enough to threaten her first strike. Tennis. Eala's serve, by comparison, costs her matches on clay. When the first serve percentage dips and second serves sit up in the court, clay court opponents step in and dictate. Fernandez did it in Stuttgart. Ostapenko did it in Linz. They did not do anything exceptional, they just stood behind the baseline and punished what Eala gave them. So when the clip of Eala saying she would steal that serve circulated after Stuttgart, the tennis world read it differently than it did before Miami. Absolutely. And there is a certain step ladder that you have to climb before you reach elite sport, so it starts really in high school. Before Miami, it sounded like a young star paying tribute to the greatest current server in the game. After Stuttgart, after Linz, after 2 clay losses in a row, it sounded like a player identifying the gap between where she is and where she needs to be. Sabalenka has not addressed it. Not once, not publicly, music, not in a press conference, not in an interview, not on social media. That silence has its own weight. Whether it is deliberate indifference or genuine disinterest does not really matter. The result is exactly the same. The quote lives in every corner of tennis conversation, and the woman it referenced has given it nothing back. Speechless. Realize you are in the middle of a maelstrom when it is your life, but then it becomes so public. Now both of them are heading to the Caja Magica in Madrid, and the contrast between their current trajectories could not be more extreme. Sabalenka arrives having won the Sunshine Double on North American hardcourts music this year. Indian Wells and Miami both making her just the 5th woman in history to complete that particular double in a single season. She skipped Stuttgart entirely. She has not played a competitive match since the Miami Open final. She walks into Madrid as the defending champion, the top seed, the world #1, and one of the music-hungriest competitors alive on clay. 3 Madrid titles. She owns this tournament. Eala arrives having lost her last 2 matches. She carries no seeding, no ranking protection, and begins her campaign in the round of 128. She will need to win 5 matches just to reach the quarterfinals. Every single one of those 5 opponents will be fighting for their own survival in the draw. There are no easy rounds from the bottom of a WTA 1000 entry list. The main draw opens April 21st. 9 of the world's top 10 are confirmed in the women's draw. Sabalenka music at 1, Alina Rybakina at 2, Coco Gauff at 3, Iga Swiatek at 4, Jessica Pagula at 5, Amanda Anisimova at 6, Alina Svitolina at 7, Jasmine Pauini at 8, and Mira Andrea at 9. Wild cards include Venus Williams and Paula Badosa. This is not a draw that rewards hesitation or half measures. Eala has history here though, and it matters. Last year she walked into Madrid as a wild card ranked number 72 and beat Victoria Tamova 6-3, 6-2 in the round of 128 before pushing Swiatek, then the defending champion and world #2, to 3 sets in the round of 64, eventually losing 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 after taking the first set against her on clay in Madrid. That is not a small thing. The problem is the floor keeps sinking. Linz and Stuttgart were not matches against top 5 players. Those were matches she was expected to be competitive in. Fernandez is number 25. Ostapenko music is number 23. Losing to them is not catastrophic in isolation, but giving away sets from dominant positions and dropping serve at critical moments points to something music, mental as much as technical on this surface.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be back. Can't wait to be out on court and I hope to see you there.
The screaming demands of clay require a different kind of patience from a player who is naturally aggressive. Eala's game is built on her forehand and her ability to change direction quickly from the baseline. On hard courts, pace is her friend. On clay, pace dies. The ball sits up differently. The slide requires timing adjustments, and the margins for error on first strike tennis shrink considerably. She has not cracked that code yet in a way that holds across a full match against quality opposition. Cheering the ranking situation gives this Madrid campaign music a sense of urgency that goes beyond sport. She dropped from number 29 to number 45 in 6 weeks. The Madrid Open awards 215 points music for a quarterfinal, 390 for a semifinal, and 650 for reaching the final. To get back music into the top 30 before the French Open, she needs at minimum a quarterfinal run. From the round of 128 against this field, that is the mountain she walked into Spain to climb. And somewhere on the other side of that same draw, Sabalenka is warming up on the practice courts, having said absolutely nothing about any of this. The defending champion, the player who Alex Eala publicly envied on camera, still silent, still holding 3 Madrid titles, still ranked first in the world. This goes viral before the first match is played because the gap between the headline and the reality is genuinely fascinating. Every fan who watched the Miami Music Open this year knows what Eala is capable of when everything clicks. She defeated Sabalenka in Miami. She pushed on clay in Madrid last year. The talent exists. The results from the last 2 weeks simply do not represent her ceiling. What Madrid Music 2026 will answer very quickly and very brutally is whether the clay floor rises to meet the ceiling or whether the music gap stays wide enough to end her run in the first 3 rounds. Sabalenka is going to defend that title with full intensity. Cheering a player who has won Madrid 3 times does not arrive in the draw without music intent. 20 years old, world number 45, carrying the expectations of an entire country, walking into a draw where the defending champion has not said a single word in response to anything she has done or said. That silence from Sabalenka is not neutrality, it is pressure. Madrid opens April 21st. The round of 128 is where I starts. The only question left before the first serve is struck. Is she walking in to survive or walking in to finish what Miami started? Music. If this breakdown gave you the full picture heading into Madrid, subscribe right now. Hit the notification bell because this channel does not wait for the highlights package. When I steps on that clay and the results start coming in, cheering, every match gets broken down. Every upset gets context. And every music moment that matters gets the analysis it deserves. The casual fan finds out the next day, you will not. That is the difference between watching tennis and actually understanding it. And with Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina, and Goff all in the same draw as an unseeded 20-year-old Filipina with something to prove, this tournament is not going to be short on moments music worth understanding. You do not want to be catching up. You want to be here when it happens. Hit subscribe and make sure of it.